Hi there, welcome or welcome back to the Books R Us. Today I'm talking about all the books that I read in March. And the first book that I read was Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Now, this is a reread of this play. I'm trying to reread all of Shakespeare's plays, but at my leisure. Now, rereading Romeo and Juliet was kind of fun because the last time I read the complete play was more than 20 years ago, or yeah, definitely over 20 years ago. And very quickly, just in case you do not know what this one is about, it is about these two families who are living in Verona. One of them is the Montagues and one of them is the Capulets. And these two families do not get along. They are always in competition. So family members start fights on the streets, and now the prince, the ruler of Verona, is angry, and he tells them that if they do not stop fighting, then people who start fights will get killed now. And then we start following Romeo. Romeo is one of the sons of the Montagues, and he is heartbroken, he is in love, but the girl he is in love with doesn't reciprocate his love. And to get him out of it, his friends, Benvolio, which is his cousin, and Mercutio, they want to drag him along to this party that the Capulets are throwing. It is a masked ball, so they are kind of gate crashing there. And when they are over there, Romeo spots Juliet, which is the Capulet's daughter, and of course they fall in love, and well, things happen after that. Alright, so now I am going to talk about how I felt about rereading this one, and I am going to spoil all of it, but I do feel that I can spoil everything about Romeo and Juliet because it has been in the domain forever, right? When I read this a long time ago, I absolutely loved Romeo and Juliet, and I was very drawn to this feeling of loving so much that you cannot live without the other person and that you have to be together. And I definitely feel rereading this that I was in a different stage of my life, and it is not that I cannot imagine anymore what it is like to fall so hopelessly in love and having that first real love, but I did get older and I did become a mother as well, and this book definitely hits very differently now. First off, I have to say that I didn't like the insta love as much as I used to. So they meet at this party and they just instantly love each other and cannot live without each other, and it's just a bit much. And then what definitely hit hard this time was the character of the friar, and I absolutely do not like the character of the friar anymore. Before, I thought he was this cool person who was trying to help these two lovers to be together, and now I really dislike him because okay, I can still get that he wants to marry these two in secret, that he has this good intention of reuniting the families or bringing those families back together. I can still sort of comprehend that, although, you know, you shouldn't do that. And we are talking about a 13-year-old girl, right? But then what I can definitely not forgive him is staging this whole fake death thing for Juliet. As a mother, I would be so angry. And I do not understand why it is necessary even, because Romeo and Juliet are already married. And you know, Juliet is to be married to Paris because her parents do not know that she is married already. So why doesn't he just go and talk to her parents and his parents and tell them that their children are married already, so it would be against the church to marry Juliet to Paris, and explain to them that this is an opportunity to reunite these families, that this is beautiful, that these young people love each other, and that this is the best thing to do, because all Juliet's father actually wants out of that set-up marriage or arranged marriage is to make Juliet happy and to get everybody happy again. So what better opportunity than to announce that they are together now? And I just don't understand this whole fake death thing anymore, because if she was going to end up in Mantua anyway, together with Romeo, then she would be gone. So isn't it better to let her stay in Verona and don't make her family all sad, lying to her parents and making them believe that their daughter has died. I mean, it's awful. I would hate for this to happen. And he's such a coward too, because at the end in the tomb, he is running away when Juliet wakes up and he doesn't want to explain what is going on. And no, I did not like the friar at all anymore. I'm actually getting really worked up over this. It's really strange because it didn't hit like that before. Now, besides all that, besides all of that, this is still Shakespeare we're talking about, and the language in this play is absolutely wonderful. It always hits. I love a lot of parts of this are like some of my favorite parts. I know whole excerpts of this one by heart. I love it so much, and I still love it, but not as much as I used to. Now, the second book I read is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I enjoyed reading this one a lot. It was not what I expected though. I did know that it was about this girl who was going to college and that she was like discovering herself, but I didn't know that the central theme of this one was actually depression. And I thought it was really well done. I really loved how they worked this out, because if you have ever encountered depression around you or in your life, then you know that this is quite realistic, the way that someone feels who is going through depression, and also how people around them are trying to handle this or not handle it at all, actually, and how they feel about it, how they think about it. This was quite modern in that aspect. I was very surprised because this was written in the 60s, I believe. However, it also shows the treatment that people who were going through mental illness got at that time, and that kind of hits hard. And I have to say that this was quite a heavy book, and I would have liked it to be a bit lighter at the end. It can go deep for me, but it has to go up again. The third book I read is The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. Now, this is a detective about this girl who 18 years ago called the police and told them that the Alperton Angels were going to kill her baby, and the Alperton Angels were this cult. And then when the police arrived at a scene where the crime was supposed to happen, all the Alperton Angels killed themselves because they couldn't finish their ritual, which included killing this baby, because they believed that it was the Antichrist and that they were going to save the world from the Antichrist by sacrificing it. And now it's 18 years later, and there is this crime writer who wants to write a novel about the Alperton Angels and everything that went down 18 years ago. And she actually wants to find the baby, because the baby will be turning 18 pretty soon. And she wants to write this story from the angle of being the child that was supposedly the Antichrist. Now, the concept of Janice Hallett's books is always that there is a lot of mixed media. So in this book as well, you have phone transcripts, you have emails, you even have fragments from different books that were supposedly based on the Alperton Angels, and they are really fun to read because they are different genres to read. And through all these mixed media, we follow the story, and we end up finding out what actually happened, what the truth of everything was. I enjoyed reading this one. I do have to say that it didn't all quite come together for me. I really liked it, but I do like when some things surprise me at the end. And there was just so much going on in this book, and one of the things that was going on was just a bit too obvious, just there to make something work at the end of the story, and that just bothered me because I could see that instead of being in the story. The next book I read was Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. This is the third and final book in the Emily Wilde series. This is cozy fantasy. It is about Emily Wilde, who is a scholar who studies fairies, and in the first two books she enters this fairy world and discovers a lot about them, studies them. And she has this other scholar who is with her, a man who is quite different from her, but of course there is tension between these two. But because this is the third book, I do not want to spoil what this one is actually about if you still want to read the whole series. I'll just tell you that I didn't really enjoy this as much. I think I enjoyed the first book most, but I have discovered that cozy fantasy really isn't my thing. It's a bit too slow, it's a bit too soft, and I do think that you will like this if you really enjoy fairy tales. But this felt like a 20-page fairy tale that was spread out over 400 pages, so it was too thin for me. Then I read All Better Now by Neil Shusterman. This one is about a new virus, and this virus makes everyone who has pulled through it happy or content with their life. They only see the good things in life anymore, and they want to work towards good things in life. And now, of course, people in the government are against this because people who are content don't buy as many things as they want to make their economies work, and people who are content and see the world in a good way want to improve the world and be more sustainable, more environment friendly, which is also working against the economy and against people in power. So we end up with like these two groups, like people who are contaminated and are happy, and people who want to be contaminated and happy. And on the other hand, you have the people who do not want to be contaminated, who want to stay away and who want to end this virus. And in this book, we follow 3 children and the course they take and the decisions they make in accordance to this virus. Now, I didn't really mind this book. It wasn't the best thing I ever read, and I doubt it will really stick with me. I felt like I didn't really like any of the characters during the whole of this book. But you know, if you want to read something that is a bit of a thriller, if you want to think about if good can exist without bad, but like on a young adult level, then you might enjoy this one. Next, I read Lore Olympus Volume 1 by Rachel Smythe. This is a graphic novel. I didn't really like this one. The drawings are alright, they are fine. It's just that the characters are very stereotypical. Now, they are these gods who are all like god of something, so of course they are kind of stereotypes, but they didn't have to be that stereotypical. And also at the end of the story, something happens that felt out of place, and that was just put in there to create drama to continue this series, and that just wasn't working for me. But after that, I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and I love this book. I have seen it everywhere before. It has been going around for quite a while now, and I'm so glad that I finally picked this up. When I started reading this, I didn't think I would get into this as much because it starts off a bit slow, I would say. But it really grows on you, and I love this book. It is of course based on Greek mythology, and we are following Patroclus, and Patroclus is a prince of sorts, and one day he sort of accidentally kills another boy, and he is exiled, towards this other king, where he has to grow up amongst other boys who were exiled or for some reason end up at this king's court. But his son is Achilles, and Patroclus and Achilles slowly start this friendship. And Patroclus becomes the best friend of Achilles. And when Achilles, who is destined to be a hero, goes to train with Chiron, Chiron is the centaur who trains all the heroes, he is allowing Patroclus to come as well. And after that, all the adventures start that they embark on together, and it's just so good. And I love the language that Madeline Miller is using. It is very poetic at times, and in this book it just all comes together. It just falls together. I cannot explain how much I want you to read this if you haven't read this yet. And then just at the end of the month, I also managed to finish Circe by Madeline Miller, which is her other very popular book. Now, Circe is about this goddess. She is the daughter of Helios, but she is considered a very minor goddess. She is of no importance. She is the ugly one out. and after a while she gets exiled because of witchcraft. But because she is a goddess, she has eternity before her. She is immortal, and through her we live several lifetimes. She has several meetings, a couple of adventures. She is responsible for some things in Greek mythology. So this is actually just Circe's story throughout the whole of the Greek mythology. I like this book. I definitely like this book. The writing in this one is, I think, even more poetic than it was in The Song of Achilles. However, this one at times feels like this time-lapse movie. Because Circe is immortal and it is an important part of this book, it sometimes feels like we are focusing on one part and then we are just skipping on to a next part, which kind of ruined the rhythm for me. But it also works because it is a means to indicate that she is immortal, and that very much affects the way she feels and handles things. So definitely like this one. If you like The Song of Achilles, I would like you to try Circe as well. I just feel like The Song of Achilles is more easily accessible than Circe was. Alright, those were all the books that I read in March. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment about what you felt about these books if you've read them yourself. And I hope to see you soon in another video. Bye!